Hello and welcome to Math with Jim, and today we're going to do order of operations examples now with parentheses. And if that isn't exciting, I just don't know what is. Alright, so we're going to get started with a math problem that has all kinds of parentheses in it. My goodness, there are a lot of parentheses in that problem, and it sure looks messy, but the good news is it's actually not that hard. Now, as we talked about with order of operations before, you just look for the most complicated thing and you do it first. So everything is inside of parentheses, which is pretty complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by looking at the stuff inside these parentheses. Now, there's nothing outside of these parentheses, so they actually don't really mean anything. So we're just going to kind of get rid of them. Okay, cool. So now the problem's a little easier. So now we're going to look for the most complicated thing on the block. And that is actually these parentheses over here. Because not only are there parentheses, but there's parentheses within parentheses. And all that tells you is deal with the thing inside of the most parentheses first. So that is 6 minus 3. So we look at all of this and we decide to start with 6 minus 3 because it's inside of two sets of parentheses. These ones and these ones. 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 becomes 3. And so I'm going to rewrite this whole problem a line down, just because when it gets this complicated, it's good to rewrite things. So we're going to do 3 times 2 in parentheses minus 5 plus 8 times 4 times in parentheses 3 times, this used to be parentheses, now it's just 3. So your problem's a little easier. So now you ask yourself the question again, what's the most complicated thing here? And again, you still have parentheses, but they're all just one level of parentheses. We don't have any more parentheses inside parentheses. So we're going to move from left to right, which means that the first problem we need to deal with on this next line is 3 times 2. So let's go ahead and do that. 3 times 2 is 6, and we're going to we're going to see what else we got in parentheses land. And over here we have 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And so let's see if that gets rid of our parentheses. Minus 5 plus 8 times 4 times, and it's this 9 right here because that used to be in parentheses, but it's not anymore. So we're just going to rewrite this 9 a little bit closer to everything else. Now the cool thing is there's no more parentheses. So what's next after parentheses are done? What's more complicated? Subtraction, addition, or multiplication? And multiplication is more complicated. So we're going to do that. And we have two multiplication problems huddled together. But what we're going to do is we are going to separate them by doing left to right. So we're going to start here. 8 times 4, 32. And then we're going to rewrite the rest of this problem one more step down. So that's going to be 6 minus 5 plus 32 times 9. That should be a green 9, I suppose. So let's do it again. Let's look at this problem. Now simplify it and see what's left. We got a negative sign, we got minus, we got plus, and we got times. And times or multiplication is the most complicated. So that is what we are going to do next. We're kind of running out of colors here. So 32 times 9. I did not plan for this problem to get this big. We're just going to do some quick math on the side here. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 1 is 28. So that is 288. Well, that got big. And so if we rewrite the rest of this thing, 6 minus 5 plus 288 equals, there's no multiplication or parentheses or division left, so we're just going to do that. 6 minus 5 is 1. So 1 plus 288 is 289, and that is the answer. We started with lots of parentheses, and it was scary, but it's actually not that bad, simply because parentheses just tell you where to get started. Let's do some more examples and see how we do. We're going to go ahead and start in the corner here. Two times 3 plus 2. Now what you might be tempted to do is say, oh, multiplication, I really want to do this problem first. But remember, order of operations says, what's the most complicated thing? And that's parentheses. So we are going to deal with the parentheses problem first. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And we're just going to rewrite the rest of it. 2 times 5 is 10. And that's our answer. Let's do another example. Two times 2, 2 plus 2. That's a lot of 2's. So we look at this problem and think, what do we need to do first? And parentheses are the most complicated thing, but these parentheses have another set inside. So once we get inside of these parentheses, we want to go inside of these ones right here. So we are going to start with this 2 times 2 because it's the farthest inside the parentheses. 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we're going to rewrite this problem a line down. 2 times 2 times 4. And again, we're going to want to do parentheses first. So let's do that. Two times 8, which becomes 16. Let's do one more. So we look at this and we say, what's the most complicated thing happening? Parentheses, of course. There's 2 of them, so we go left to right. The first one is going to be 3 minus 6, which is 3. So we're going to rewrite this thing a line down. 2 times 3. If there's no symbol between the number and the parentheses, it means multiplication, which is pretty cool. So that's how I know to put times. So 2 times 3 plus, and then this other parentheses isn't touching it with not touching the other one, so we're just going to handle this one too. 2 plus 4, which is 6. So what we end up with is 2 times 3 plus 3 times 6. I'm just going to rewrite that 6 a little lower so it's more convenient. And now we look at our problem and say, what's more complicated, addition or multiplication? Of course, it's multiplication. And then we say, what are we going to do first? The answer to that is we are going to go left to right. Well, we're going to do multiplication, and then we have 2 of them, so we're going to go left to right. So we're going to start here. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 3 times 6 is 18. And the 2 get added together. 6 plus 18 equals 24. So this is a look at how parentheses work. So the moral of the story here is to not be scared by how complicated they can look. Parentheses just tell you, start here. They're kind of easy that way. They just tell you, start here for sure. Whatever you're